Tech heads, back once again. And boy, do we have a lot to cover. We go deep on the current job market for web development, talk about salary negotiation, and maybe even go into the benefits of this line of work. All this and so much more on Tech Heads.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Tech Heads, back at it again. What's good, Anna?
Hey, Victor. Nothing much, just another work week and trying to wind down and have some, chill time. It's Saturday evening for us. So
Valentine's Eve.
I know it is. I totally forgot for a second that it was.
I hope you didn't really forget.
Not really.
For Sam's sake.
But I know. Yeah. She's not a really chocolate and flowers kind of girl. So we'll see what she gets tomorrow. I already got my gift, which, is the microphone for the podcast. So I'm pretty excited about it. For a geek, I feel like she, definitely got this one right.
Oh, 100%. That sounds so much better. You're officially a podcaster and you're...
Yeah, right.
I think last episode we were talking about like your microphone and like how it kind of clips a little bit here and there, but it does the job. So I think that's the most perfect timing.
I know, it really was. So let's see.
For us, it's weird because Dylan's birthday is the 10th. Valentine's Day is the 14th. So, with the fact that we knew that we were getting, a lot of snow, and just with the fact that everywhere is busy and booked on Valentine's Day, I kind of thought it'd be a cool idea to incorporate a little bit of Valentine's Day on her birthday. So we went to a vineyard.
Oh, right.
Which was, like 30 minutes away. Never been to a vineyard. 10 out of 10 recommend.
Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah, we did our wine tasting. We figured out what Dylan liked and what I liked. Took home a bottle. It was the most amazing weather. And clear skies. It was so perfect. But then the next day, snowmageddon.
Snow. Yeah, that's interesting because I remember you sent me a picture of the day that you guys went there, and it looked beautiful. And then you sent me a picture yesterday of the snow, and I was like, wow, that almost looks like Florida. Bipolar weather.
Yeah, it's actually it's so funny because the people who live in Portland, I don't think they're really used to snow unless you drive like 45 minutes or an hour away up the mountain.
Yeah.
And you can see snow like, a good chunk of the year, but in the city, you really don't get snow that often at all, maybe a few times a year. So you can see the driving skills that people don't have when it's snowing. Just outside of our apartment, somebody was stuck. They couldn't do a U-turn, and businesses are closed because we have like 4 inches of snow, which isn't dramatic at all.
Yeah, right.
But it's really cool because Dylan works at a business, so they closed down, so now she gets extra days off for her birthday. She gets a little bit of snow.
Nice. Getting snowed in. Yeah, I think I don't know when do you know when was the last time that it snowed over there? Like, has it been years?
Oh, no, it hasn't been too long, but it's definitely been over a year.
Okay.
To my knowledge, because we were here over a year ago, just, when we came here on vacation. And it wasn't snowing at all. It was like, I don't know, like 40 degrees, rainy, kind of cloudy, still like a few nice days, but I don't know. Definitely wasn't freezing and snowing. So unless it snowed between then and when we moved in, it's definitely been over a year.
Right. Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I think just this past, I know that we're still in the winter, but in Madrid, like people were going crazy, because it snowed there after 50 years. Can you believe it? That's almost like a generation. Yeah. Like there's like almost a generation of people that had never seen snow there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Thank you, Dylan, for your first official number crunch. Oh, by the way, guys, we have she's not a guest, but she's our in-house number cruncher at the moment. She's an intern. Just kind of, we're feeling each other out, seeing if she's right for the position. We might give her some college credit when she starts law school soon. It all depends on her abilities and culture fit, and anything she can kind of bring to the table. So we'll see how she goes.
Or encyclopedia. Woo!
I know, and she doesn't even have a computer. She just has this all in her brain. We were joking that she's basically Computron. Remember when Dwight was Computron in The Office when they had that
guy? I know.
She's our Dylan-tron. All right.
Jarvis.
So one thing I do have to address before we get into it, I've been getting some heavy backlash from last episode.
About what?
So last episode, remember when we were talking about escargot?
Yeah.
In Paris.
Uh-huh.
So I described Paris as a hootie tootie town.
Uh-huh.
Did you?
I didn't take offense to that. I can definitely see it because I've been to Paris. I could see that.
No. Okay, so this is okay.
But escargot is
no, I know, but so the term is not hootie tootie.
Uh-huh.
It's hoity toity.
Hoity toity. Ah, okay.
Discovered that?
Yeah, so we got some heavy criticism from a big fan of the show, Dylan, who's now our intern.
Yeah.
So if she can spot out bugs like that from a mile away, she's hireable to me.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's really essential for us to have somebody like this, whether it's Dylan or not. We can kick her to the curb anytime we want. I know we have a line of people who want to do this anyway. But she was the one who,
I think she's a keeper.
well, I think it's essential that we have somebody at least because I don't know. Okay. You're kind of a foreigner in a way, like, you're, your blood bleeds red, white, and blue as far as I'm concerned. You're an American from Brazil, but sometimes I feel like, with that, you might not get like some cultural references or like, some East Coast sayings, like, stuff like hoity toity. I don't know. Dylan picked up on it right away. And that concerns me as a human because I feel like I should have picked that up as soon as I said it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I did realize that I was subconsciously combining, what is it? Snooty and hoity.
Ah.
Yeah. So I was saying like snooty and hoity, and I made hootie.
Well, no, yeah. I totally understood what you said. I just, probably because it's not really something that I say or like hear that frequently, I didn't even think that it was wrong, but
exactly.
That's, why Dylan is going to help us out. So
yeah. Oh, definitely.
I'm not from around here.
Well, I feel like sometimes when we talk, it sounds like we're trying to blend in as humans because we're aliens. Like aliens.
You and I were aliens?
Sometimes, yeah. Because
100%, yeah.
I don't know. I think part of it is because we're like kind of recluse people, and we kind of we're into nerdy stuff. We don't really engage with like a ton of people. I don't know. I might be speaking too much for myself, maybe not for you, but there's definitely times where I just sound stupid because I get like a reference wrong or whatever. And to me, I've always compared it to like an alien studying to be a human and try to blend in, and then they just get one thing wrong, like hoity-toity and hooty-tooty.
Yeah. No, honestly, like like you said, it's interesting that you even touched on that because I feel like I definitely had a lot more contact with other people, like direct contact, whether at work or, when you go to a restaurant, a grocery store or whatever, before the pandemic. And then we got on lockdown and started working remote. And, like there's just a lot less human interaction. Like we're either typing things and reading messages or listening to, to audio recordings, watching videos and things like that. But it's very different, like the dynamic, between two people directly in comparison to like, a digital presence of some kind. So yeah, no, I mean, it's a way to not fully, revert back to an alien and, try to evolve as a human.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. That's a really good point. Do you think if an alien were to try to like blend in as a human and like, try to get some like serious intel, do you think they would like choose to be a web developer or something? Because it's like kind of in line with like that, mathematical, logical, computer, techie sort of thing. So like, I would imagine an alien wouldn't try to be like, I don't know, like a barista or a trash man. Like, they would probably blend in by being something that's a little more like techie.
Yeah. Like Elon Musk. The guy just wants to go to Mars because he's truly an alien.
Exactly. Or, I mean, obviously, Mark Zuckerberg, we already know he is an alien because of the way he is.
Oh my gosh. That hearing, what was it? A congressional or Senate hearing? That video it kills me because
Senator, I will have to get back to you on that.
Take sip of water. Oh my gosh. It just looked so robotic. It was sad.
Senator, I would love to circle back with you on that one because I don't know the exact answer.
Oh my gosh.
Senator, we run ads. That's how we make money.
Yeah, no, he's a special guy. I no doubt very smart, but seems like there's a lot that goes on in that head. So yeah,
Dylan, can I get a number crunch on his net worth? Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. I want to compare the two net worths. Mark Zuckerberg is 90 billion. Oh, wow. Elon is at 185 billion.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Big shout out to Tesla because I own some Bitcoin. They bought, I don't know, I think $1 billion, $1.5 billion. Can I get a number crunch on that? Just recently, they bought a lot of Bitcoin. So my portfolio shot up last week. So thanks, Elon.
Yeah, Tesla bought 1.5 billion.
Right.
In Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's crazy.
So now you're rolling in the dough.
Oh, I wish I would have already bought like a whole coin. I do have,
a whole coin's like a lot, like tens of thousands of dollars, right?
$50K. Yeah, that's how much it's worth. One coin is $50,000 now.
I remember when it was 17,000.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm definitely going to buy one whole Ethereum coin this year because I think it's about $2,000, $1,900 maybe when I checked yesterday or today. So I want to buy it because it was $90 this time last year. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It kills me. Should have bought it then. But hey, whatever.
Well, since we're on the topic of money, why don't we talk about some salary stuff?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let me open it up with this fact. As of May 2019, the median wage for a web developer is $73,760, with those in the lowest 10% being less than $39,000 and the highest 10% being $142,000.
Oh, wow.
Which is a pretty good range. Like,
yeah,
considering, like there's a huge, difference in cost of living across America. Like that just makes sense that there's going to be a huge range. But,
yeah,
with a median of 73,000 and considering that I think the average salary in America is like 35 or 40,000.
Oh, wow. Really?
Do you think you could look up the average salary in America? I think it's somewhere around 35 and 40,000. I don't know, but 31,333. 133. Okay. So even with the median being 73,000, you're like more than double the average salary of
Mm-hmm.
like most jobs in America.
Right.
And, considering I don't know, like I guess the investment in time. I mean, I know it's a lot of time, but educational time,
Mm-hmm.
because, you can do a boot camp for 6 months and straight out of the gate, potentially
Right.
get something that's pretty high paying, that's really, really appealing to a lot of people. But what people don't, obviously factor in is the amount of work that it takes to actually get to that point. And I think you
Yeah.
touched that on the first episode.
Right.
People are simply drawn to it because of this high entry level salary in most places in America. So, what do you think people can maybe do on their own time before they even invest, more time than it's worth to actually learn something within this industry?
Mm-hmm.
Because, obviously, like, money is a huge driving factor for a lot of us, but
Yeah.
this can turn into a big waste of time for a lot of people because all they see is like, oh, I'm going to make $73,000. All I have to do is learn HTML. So what do you think people should do to maybe, I guess not prep for it, but maybe just dive into it? Like, what do you think is a good way to kind of, just like dip your toes in?
Well, I think going back to the discussion that we had in regards to the different methods of learning to become a developer, like self-teaching or boot camp or college degree. I would probably say self-teaching, like making use of the free tools that you can find online to see if it's something that appeals to you, because during the boot camp, unfortunately, there were a few people in my cohort that dropped out, like, I don't know, maybe a month before it ended, or like 6 weeks, something like that. And that was after they had already put in like $10,000 in, and there was obviously no refund, but they just couldn't carry the load, or they thought that they weren't getting it, So before making that kind of financial commitment, I would definitely say do a little bit of research in terms
Mm-hmm.
of, what you expect to get out of it, because it is an investment. You have to see it as a transaction too, because you're putting money into it. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
putting money into something, you have to get either that money back, or you have to get more. Hopefully, you're aiming to get more money back. So a lot of people that I've met were doing it because they wanted a career change, so that's another reason, not just because of the money. But I think it's important to do that, like do yourself a favor and do some research before committing to it, because yeah, it's time, it's effort, it's a lot of money too. And I don't know, I mean, don't quit. Like if you commit to
Yeah.
it, then make sure that you see it through.
Right. So now that we've talked about, I mean, we covered it in a previous episode, how to decide what to start with, how to figure out if you're going to even want to be in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
So now I want to actually go into like assuming the fact that you've actually gotten that far, you've decided that you want to be in it, and who knows, maybe you're qualified for your first job. I want to go
Mm-hmm.
into a little bit of how you're actually going to get that salary, because the whole salary negotiation process, it's tricky business. It's really sketchy sometimes, depending on the company. If it's a bigger company, you might get like an HR rep trying to, somebody who like an HR rep who doesn't really know what the like the job description is or what is involved. They're just going to be there to kind of tell you what the company's budget is and what the title is. I don't think they really know anything about it, so they're not the people to really negotiate with. So it's all really tricky actually getting the salary you want. So I actually have a little bit of advice on that with
Let's hear
salary
it.
negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
If the first thing you've done is you've received a phone screen or, been a part of a phone screen with a recruiter. This is essentially where people from the company, usually an HR rep, sometimes it's somebody that you might work alongside with eventually, they call you and they just want to get to know you and know your story.
Yeah.
They, see if you're relevant to the job. They see if, you're going to be qualified. They get a good understanding of that, but it's usually not too much technical stuff.
Yeah.
But to save a lot of people time on both ends, the company hiring and your time, I think it's really important to figure out what the salary range of the job is at least.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to be in round 3 of the interview, and then you're going to find out that the job was offering $40,000 for, a really big, stress loaded, responsibility heavy job, and it's not going to be worth it in the end. And you wasted everybody's time. But I think it's really important that you somehow find a way of figuring out what the budget is for the position. And I know in some states that it's actually illegal to not list the range. I don't know specific states of where it is illegal, but I know some places you do have to put the range.
Right. No, yeah, that's a big, I think, like a huge red flag. If the job description doesn't have some kind of reference of how much they're willing to pay, or like you said, the range, then, and you're still interested, by all means, go through with the phone screen, but make sure that you ask if they don't bring that up. Mm-hmm. Because I've done phone screens before from both ends, as the person who is recruiting and as the person who is as the candidate. So it is a sort of like an uncomfortable, I think, question, but you have to make sure that you're ready for that when it comes up, because it can save a lot of time. Like you said, like if you're looking for a job that's going to pay you $100K and they, don't have the posting, don't have it on the job description, but in the phone screen, it comes up that they have to cap it at, I don't know, $50,000. Then obviously, that that's not the job for you. So, it's one of those things where, do yourself a favor and go on Glassdoor. Like Glassdoor is a huge resource for doing, preparation for maybe like some interview questions that, previous candidates have gotten, or, the salary ranges for that category, for that kind of position or department. And I think another thing that I made a note of is also the job description itself, what is it that they're looking for exactly? Because like you said, if it's just like 1 to 2 years of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then it's more of an entry-level position. But if it's talking about having a couple more years of experience and maybe, deployment experience, a wide array of other tools or technologies that they expect you to have experience and exposure to, then that it's just adding to the expectations that they are looking for in the candidate. So you can use that as leverage, in your salary negotiation.
Well, let's dive into that actually. So let's say you're in the phone screen. In my experience, the recruiter always, if it is a recruiter in this instance for the company, and they're, they are actively wanting to hire somebody and they've, delegated that task out to somebody who doesn't work in that actual department, they're not very technically savvy, but they know the information about the job.
Yeah.
So Anna, let's say that this HR rep contacts you and they say, hey, I see you applied for the job. You have to do this, this, and this. And then they tell you, oh no, they don't tell you. They ask you, what are your salary expectations for the job? Mm-hmm. What have you done in the past when they do that? Because I have my experience with that question, which I dread the most. But do you have something that like you say every time they ask you that in your experience?
So a big advice, that I've gotten from a couple of like online resources and that I would like to recommend to any candidate is never give away how much you're making. Never.
Oh, agreed.
That's a huge no. But make sure that before the interview or the phone call, you do your research about the company, so you can kind of like gauge either by like the region. For instance, I'm in Orlando, so I would probably look for the, like if it's a full stack web developer, I will look for what the salary range is in Orlando. And yesterday I actually looked the Florida salary range for full stack web developers. It ranges from 77,000 to 102,000. So obviously that is taking into account how many years of experience you have, so probably lower end because you might have might be considered like an entry to mid-level, and then a senior developer would already be making six figures. So make sure that you do your research to, you have to take into account the cost of living at the area that you're in, how many years of experience they're asking for in the job description. Also the job description, because some technologies might be more, I think, demanding. And again, you can use that as leverage, for your advantage. And I honestly, that is what I've used. Like you said, I usually dread that question, but I've become more comfortable with that because I do my research before, and I usually do pretty well with the range, for this job that I'm at now, I got kind of like an insider tip of how much they were willing to pay. So when I went in, I said, this is what I'm looking for. Obviously there's also there's a buffer. I knew how much he said, and I just added a couple more zeros to that.
So you had inside intelligence to figure out what you should be paid.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, if the company wants me, then, they're gonna, if they can make it work, they'll make it work. If not, then I just feel like it's not really meant to be, I'm not going to hop around from job to job for $5,000. I'm sorry, but no, because it takes a lot of training, a lot of getting used to, going from one company to the other, especially if it's a bigger company. There's a lot to get used to. The dynamic is different. And I knew what kind of company I was coming in to work for. So I gave them something that I was pretty sure that they would accept. So it worked out in the end. But yeah, going back to your initial question, just, you have to do your research because that question is going to come up. If it doesn't, you have to raise it because you might as well get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm. In my experience, the recruiters, they're usually pretty nice people. And whenever I've been asked that question, which is, what are your salary expectations for the job? In my experience, the first thing that I do is say, I'm just the engineer. I'm not an expert in the market. I don't know what the current going rate of a developer for this level of experience is going to get. But I guess I could ask you, what is the budget for the role? And every time I've asked that, they tell me the budget. They tell me the low end and the high end. And then if I think it's a reasonable range for the position that they're explaining to me, then, I'd continue and I go through my whole process and figure out if I want to actually pursue the role. But
yeah,
I don't know. I've never had a situation where the recruiter's like, oh, that's classified. I can't tell you until we think you're a better fit. But, if you are ever in that situation, as much as it, can be really uncomfortable, but I think the key is really putting the ball in their court to answer the question. So when they ask you, what are your salary expectations? You could say, I signed an NDA. I'm not allowed to say.
Right.
And, I kind of want to keep that between my current employer and me, because, we have this obligation to kind of keep that under wraps. And, if I were working for you, I would do the same thing. I wouldn't disclose how much I'm getting paid for, a prospect employer. So I
Right.
think not only does it show like that you're trusting because you're trusting the person that you're currently working for and they see that,
Mm-hmm.
but it also doesn't show how much you're getting paid, and that's really key because then they'll distinguish the people that they're interviewing for the position based off of how much they're currently getting paid. And if you're getting paid less than every single one of them, they're going to offer you the least amount, even if you were the most successful in the whole process.
Of
So
course.
I think it's huge to kind of keep that to yourself. I know it's so awkward, and I'm like a really awkward person, and I really, really struggle with those sorts of awkward conversations. But really, the key it's just like in those movies, like Wolf of Wall Street, or like
Yeah.
I don't know, that show Suits, where like it shows these super intense scenes where people are negotiating, and they
Right.
always emphasize the idea that like the first person to talk loses. And I know
Mm-hmm.
it's so corny and cheesy, but like I kind of think it's a little true. Whenever a situation comes up where either party could talk, I have no problem staying quiet because I'm already awkward. So I'm gonna stay quiet until somebody talks.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes them so uncomfortable that they have to talk and say something to appease the other party.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is like an American thing, but I feel like the money talk and salary negotiation thing is sort of like a dance.
It is.
Because in other countries that I've seen like how people do it, I know they're like way more straightforward and upfront about the initial salary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's like, it's all about saving money and, kind of living with this capitalist society that we're all involved in. So, it is what it is in a way, but I don't know. It is kind of a really awkward game to play for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, I think the more you have that kind of experience, the more comfort you're going to develop, when it comes up again. Because like you said, it is a dance.
Hmm.
And it can be nice. It doesn't have to be a bad dance. You can carry on as civil people, have, make sure that you have the right information for both parties, be respectful of what each one wants, the company and you, but you also want to look out for your own interests. I, as an individual, I not that I don't care for the company that I work for, but I also have my own things that I want to do, and I had a number in mind. So if they lowballed me, I would have just countered, because like I said, I did my research. I figured that that was, something that I'll be able to get, given, the information that was provided to me by the person who referred me. And hopefully I'm not giving too much away in this podcast. But anyway, they already hired me, so I think it's too late.
I don't think you are at all. It's like at this point, let's say one of the people in charge listens to the podcast. What are they going to do?
I mean,
They're going to
honestly,
learn from their experience, be like, oh, maybe I should have done that instead. But they're playing the game just as much as you are.
of course, totally agree. That's why, it goes back to the fact that you have to give yourself, enough respect to ask for the number that you think you're worth. I mean, it goes back to what we discussed. Like, you want to do a career change, you go through this entire process of rebuilding your professional path. You went through a boot camp, or you're going to through school. You had really late nights, and maybe you sacrificed time with your family, with your kids, and it's coming down to that. Like, you have to get something back. And, one of those things is the salary. So I think it's nothing but fair to be prepared for that question, and never, if, like you said, I think it's good to be proactive. If you don't have a number in mind and you want to ask the recruiter, like you said, most of them are probably going to tell you what they're looking for. But I also am fearful of the fact that if you put the ball on their court, will they give you a lower range, because
Hmm.
you're the one asking? Whereas if you're like, oh no, I'm looking for this number, and then they'll be like, that's a little bit out of our range. okay, then what is your range? So like, I don't know. It can be a bit tricky, but
It
it
is.
doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be rude about it. I think that would just be like, be silly. But
Agreed.
yeah, I'm
Unless you
most,
won't be working directly with that person,
yeah,
then you can
right,
avoid them for the rest of your time at the company. But obviously,
right,
not sound advice. So, try to be like a
right.
normal, cool human, talk to
Yeah,
them like, oh, like, what is, if you can tell me what's the range for the
yeah,
position. But yeah, don't,
right.
I don't know.
Don't burn any bridges. That's all
Exactly.
I'm
Do
saying.
not burn any bridges because no matter what, like depending on the size of the company, you might apply to that company again. And if they see your
Yeah.
name, they're like, oh, like this guy or this girl, like, no way.
Mm-hmm.
Not after that conversation. So I think it is important to like, keep this composure and like you said, don't burn any bridges. But there is a thin line between the art of negotiating and being genuine and nice. Because
Yes.
at the same time of, being like, conversational and being enthusiastic about the job, at the same time, you do want to make them a little uncomfortable at the point where they expose the range if they're not going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all like it's such a tricky subject, and it really does depend on who is conducting the interview or the phone screen.
Yeah.
But like I said, and these are, I would say these are pretty extreme cases. In most cases, they're going to be chill. They're going to tell
Mm-hmm.
you what it is. But there has been one time, it was actually, going back to the last episode when I had
Mm-hmm.
to answer how many ping pong balls were in a school bus.
Right.
That company, they refused to tell me what the budget was. I went through all
Oh,
of this
that's
that I've
not
mentioned
good.
and what you've mentioned. And, I went through all of it and they still wouldn't budge. And at that point, I kind of realized I don't want to work for you if you're going to be this difficult.
Yeah.
So
I
that,
totally
that might be
agree.
kind of a takeaway for some people here too. If you're getting red flags from a company and it's something you really don't like dealing with,
Uh-huh.
expect to deal with more of that if you're going to work for them. So,
Right.
if you're not feeling it, don't go for it. Just, shoot your shot, put a huge number out there if you really want to. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, don't disrespect anybody and don't burn bridges like you said. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's worth being with a company you're not happy with and that you got red flags with from the start. Um,
Yeah. Exactly.
but if you want to make a lot of money, just go for it. Who knows what their budget is.
Yeah.
So maybe as a last ditch sort of Hail Mary effort, you can do that if you have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You're already probably sitting pretty on a job, but you're kind of exploring more the market and maybe want to make a little more money. But
Yeah.
yeah, like we said, if you are, fresh out of school or a boot camp, and this is your like first few times negotiating, yeah, just keep it cool and try to put the ball in their court the most amount of times that you can, because that
Mm-hmm.
makes them a little more uncomfortable and more willing to give you the range.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
do your research on the location that you're actually searching in, because it's all dependent on the cost of living per city, and
mm-hmm.
it's also dependent on the current economy. Which if you're listening during 2021 quarantine time, the economy could be doing better, but hey, we're actually kind of thriving as developers.
Yes. I think with that, I wanted to point out that another stat I pulled yesterday from a study that was just concluded by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. It was just concluded last month. It reported a job growth rate of 8% from 2019 to 2029 for full stack developers.
I saw that too, actually. Yeah, 8%. It's double like any other job.
Yes. So I mean the money is there to be made. Go out and make it, ask people for the money. If you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it. Companies will try to, to give you I think that it depends on the company. Honestly, some companies
Mhm.
are very fair. They will pay you what, the salary pays, like the industry average or whatever, the national average. But I mean, ask, the worst you can get is a no, or they can offer you a lower amount, and then it's up to you to decide if you want to accept it or not. But I mean, it's a very good outlook for for this position, for the industry. So
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of growth, and like I said, a lot of possibilities, a lot of money to be made. So
Yeah. I mean, this goes without saying, but that growth is accredited to, the huge growth in the usage of mobile devices because,
mhm.
everybody wants to use an app of some kind, and every company that's, being developed at the moment, they want to appeal to as many people as possible. So they want, a mobile friendly website as well as a desktop friendly site. They
Mhm.
want a mobile app. They
Yeah.
want, like really good software to actually run. So as this actually grows, it's something that actually, kind of goes in developers' favors because they need experts who can actually deal with that. Because, as somebody running a company, you're exposing your stress levels to, like, marketing and
Yeah.
the business sort of side. You're trying to figure out how to even keep track of finances. The
Right.
least that you want to worry about is like just making it work and having it available to the masses. So
Mhm.
that's where like the developers come in, and it is really crazy how rapid this industry is growing because of those companies that they want to put all of that stress in the hands of other people. And
Right.
that's great for us. I mean, that's why we kind of did this. We're a very
Yeah.
marketable industry. We're good
Mhm.
at, what we do. It's
Yeah.
not entirely impossible for anybody to achieve as long as they, go through the relative instruction and education and teach themselves, and they're passionate about it. So
Mhm.
I think it
Yeah.
is really, really cool that there are people like us who we enjoy it so much, and it's also like very marketable.
Yeah.
So like
Absolutely.
with like the benefits of the job, sure, like, you have your big companies where they offer 401k matching and, a certain amount of days off that, is more than most companies kind of give. But also, like, I think one of the biggest benefits you can get is actually just enjoying going to work and
Yes.
like enjoying like what you're doing throughout the day, and, feeling like
Mhm.
this sense of accomplishment. I don't think any benefit that a company can offer can beat that.
Yes. Yeah, no, I was going to bring up that, we've focused a lot on the negotiation aspect and putting a number to how much you think, your time at that job will be worth. But there are a lot of other things that I would recommend considering too. Like you said, 401k matching, if the company also provides insurance,
Hmm.
and vacation time, any other perks, like if they would pay for you to continue, like I don't know, developing your skill set, or would pay for you to go to a conference. Not that right now any of them are happening, but that kind of where you see the incentives to join them, because it's more than just the salary. It's the culture, it's the job development, the opportunities for growth, the opportunities for you to have a good work life balance. Like there are a lot of other factors that you should consider. And I think that comes into play more when you're, I think, more established within the industry, when you already have a couple of years under your belt, of relevant work experience. As a junior or entry level, obviously, it's definitely harder to be picky because you're battling with like a whole bunch of other people who are on the same boat. But eventually, when after you put in the time, you can find a good company to work for, that you will definitely see the your ROI, like the return on
Hmm.
investment that you initially made when you decided that you wanted to work in this industry or become a full stack developer or whatever developer. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And sometimes even these big companies, they'll offer these incentives and benefits to the people you love the most. Like they'll offer them to your significant others, your children, your family, which is huge. Like if they're offering dental for you and your family, like, that says something about the company and also says something about the market of this job in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's very interesting, like navigating this stage of, because last week we talked about what to do to prepare for, finding a job. And then this is like when you're pretty much, like essentially it's like, okay, do I accept it or not? Obviously there, certain parameters that I would like to be within, but I don't know. It really depends on what like for some people salary matters more, other people the benefits matter more, like unlimited PTO. I don't know, the ability to have them pay for you to go to school, really good insurance. Like some companies, pay for like 100% of your premium. Like that is crazy, like getting free insurance. So yeah, it really, if you have a family, there are like other things that you would like to consider, like, or, if you want the option to work full remote. So it's a lot of, I think items or factors to consider that really varies from person to person, really. But ultimately, the salary, I think, is like one of the first things that kickstart that conversation. And then everything else, you will decide how they take priority in your list, because everyone's list is different.
Whoever you are, wherever you are at in your stage of life, there's not a terrible time to actually enter this market and actually try to get yourself involved in the industry, which is really cool. People of all walks of life I've seen in boot camps and at these, meetups. And it's just really cool to see how welcoming and nurturing everybody is, because everybody wants everybody else to succeed at the same time. And that kind of is like exemplified in the idea of open source software, where in most industries, maybe if somebody makes something innovating, they're going to keep it under wraps. They're going to have a patent. It's going to be super secretive. But with us, a lot of these things, we just want everybody to see how we built it and how they can use it to build other things. So it is on like a mental health level, it is really cool that it's like one big team versus, like in, like, I don't know, any big sport like football, like, you have all these different teams competing against each other, trying to be better and bigger. And I don't know, I think it's really cool that we're all kind of just on the same team and kind of chilling out, just coding, showing what we got. With that though, I think we should take a quick break and then we'll be right back with some more on this. What did you want to add to it then?
So one thing that I had forgotten about, but I found it was a valuable tool or forum, when looking for a job and navigating the whole negotiating process, is Reddit. I don't know if you've heard of the name and shame thing that people do when they have a bad experience interviewing for a company. If they just ghost them, or if it goes terribly bad, where, it's one of those scenarios where they ask you to they give you like a coding test, asking you to build something, and then you turn it in and never hear from them again. So essentially you just, did free work. I've read a whole bunch of those. So I recommend checking those out too. Like, and do your colleagues a favor, Reddit can be as anonymous as possible. So if you had a terrible experience, please share so people know maybe what could happen. I don't know. Like some of these names are big companies, but sadly, they still fail some, some of these, like a simple process of recruiting a candidate. So I think that the name and shame is an interesting.
It's
An
a good way to
interesting thing.
check on the company before. You could like search for the company name, I would imagine.
Yeah, of course. And it's an interesting way to get a glimpse from the candidate's perspective because that's what is relatable to us, right? Like we're not huge Fortune 500 companies looking to hire developers. Unfortunately, not yet. But we're talking about from the developers, perspective. So that way you can maybe see what went wrong or maybe what they did wrong. But I thought that it was an interesting like a couple of interesting posts that I've read about companies. So yeah, if you just Google Reddit name and shame with like there's a subreddit called CS career questions. That one is pretty cool. You
Hmm.
can see some of those posts and then judge it for yourself, really. Every experience is going to be different, but I thought that that was kind of cool. I've read a few that I was like, wow, yeah, huge company, but man, did they drop the ball there.
Well, don't be shy. Tell us if I mean you've already told us about your like one of your interview experiences, but like do you have anybody to call out on somebody,
Oh,
somebody maybe you interviewed with and you're like, man, like how the heck did they do that to me?
name and shame with
Yeah,
me.
let's do a name live.
Right. Honestly, I I can't really think of like specifically isolating to the application process, interview process. As far as what the job turned into, I would like not to get into that because I don't want to offend anybody. But no, I'm not talking about you. Obviously, what's in the past, it's in the past, so I'm not gonna dig that up. But I'm just talking about interviews and the application process. Luckily, I've never been ghosted by any companies. I was treated fairly. Obviously, I did my own fair share of chasing recruiters, emailing them, following up, because these are apparently incredibly busy people. And their hours are worth more than ours, I guess, in some cases. So I had to chase some of them to see if the opportunity was still on the table. And I think that's natural. Honestly, I knew what I wanted and I went after it. But if it didn't work out, whatever. Some companies do you the courtesy of at least sending out like a rejection email if they decided to go with someone else. But ultimately, I think that I've dealt with good companies, got some good feedback from some of them. Others just didn't pan out. But I don't think I have any really to name and shame, to be honest. How about you? Do you? Oh, aside from that one, that the ping pong one.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna name that company. I'm gonna be
Right.
nice to them because they're a company that is somewhat near my home, so I don't want anybody chasing after me and
Yeah, right.
spying on me and my partner while we're just trying to enjoy our lives. But I can name and shame an Orlando company, My City Social. You.
Oh my God, so good.
You missed out on an incredible employee.
Cheers to that. Yes.
they I had one technical interview with them,
Mhm.
and I had the phone screen and everything, but I had a technical interview. It went fine. I honestly like I don't know. This might come across as being like pretentious in a way, but their technical interview, to me,
Mhm.
anybody could have done, no matter the
Really?
education level. Like it was so simple, and it was just like super super basic stuff.
Yeah.
And I did the one technical interview. I expected like at least another, some sort of cultural fit interview, or like, something where I'm
Mhm.
like talking to somebody that I'm going to be working with directly.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. So immediately after the technical interview, I got an offer for a job.
Like the day of, like when you were
No,
still.
no, it was like a day after, maybe 2 days after.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know, like when that happened, I got the offer. It wasn't like, I don't know, an insane amount of money at all. It was very normal. but just the whole vibe of the interview process, it just really struck a chord with me because I didn't think it really made a lot of sense. And I don't understand how they were able to evaluate me based off of the amount of time that they spent with me.
Right.
So I kind of challenged them on that when they offered the amount that they offered. And for the position, I was like, sorry, like, I don't know if this really is going to work because you barely know me and you're offering this amount of money. I just want to make sure you guys are like even legitimate. I don't really know much about you. I see that your website sucks. Like, it's just really, really sketchy to me. So can you like at least comfort me in that and maybe tell me, you know, what happened to the last guy and maybe let me talk to some people who I would be immediately working with at least, or somebody I would be reporting to. And luckily enough, they were like accommodating in that. They're like, you know what, like, we totally understand. This was kind of rushed. We are looking for a new person really soon. And you just fit the bill. Okay. So luckily, they actually put me on the phone with the CEO of the company.
Oh, wow.
They were like, you know what, this is something that you should talk to him about. So I talked to the CEO and he's like, hey, like, I understand you're having a little issues with like, you know, coming on board with us. And I was like, yeah, like, it just seems so weird because your website, you know, for me coming on board as a developer, and I see that your website's just not working. It makes me wonder, do you even have a developer on the team?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's a lot of, you know, unfortunate events that have happened in the past few months. And, you know, we're looking for somebody to kind of rectify those issues. And we're also looking for somebody that would be a cultural fit. I was like, okay, great. Like, let me talk with somebody I'm going to actually be working with to see if that's going to work.
Right. Of course.
Like when we worked together, you know, we kind of did that.
Yeah.
Like I had to make sure I was going to, you know, enjoy working with you. You made that very clear. Like, you're going to be working with me. So, you know, it was kind of implied. If I don't like you, I don't want you to work with me. Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, vice versa. That's how it should work in every company, in every position. But this company, they didn't really follow that until I had to ask for that, which I thought was so weird. And luckily enough, you know, I got to do that. And, you know, the people seemed nice enough and it seemed like a great company. So I took the position, and then a week later, it was not what I thought it was going to be at all. It was mostly like SEO sort of tasks. And I don't know, it wasn't what I was going for. And it worked out because, you know, I ended up where I am now, and I'm not going to, you know, feel bad about like what could have been if I stayed at the company, because they are, you know, sort of reputable company in a way in the Orlando area. But I don't know. I don't really like how they conducted business. I didn't like the fact that I was kept in the dark. Like from the get-go. Like, I didn't know why their website wasn't working. Like, all the stuff that I found out on my own, I thought it was so weird that they didn't address before. Yeah. So if, you know, you are interviewing with a company and you're thinking about actually working for them and they seem good, like, dive deep, look at what other people are saying about the company, look at Glassdoor to see what current employees are thinking, what they're getting paid. And I think all you have to do to get access is to leave a review for a company you've worked for in the past. Because sometimes they restrict you.
Yeah, I think that I probably had to do that. You're right.
Did you do it for the company we worked for at the time?
No, not yet.
Because I saw reviews and I was like, man, like, I wonder if she said that.
No, I haven't written anything. To be honest, I don't know if if I ever will, because
Same.
I wasn't even given the courtesy of like an exit interview. You know, like, they didn't really want to know why I was leaving. Sure. They just, you know, accepted my resignation, and then I was pretty much on my way. So if they don't want to know like why I think it didn't work out, and then I'm going to let them figure it out, you know, on their own. I'm not going to do their job for them. Yeah, I mean, dropping some
Damn.
bombs here. But yeah, I think like you said, even if you are coming in as a junior or an entry level person, do yourself the courtesy of researching the company that you're going to work for, because if you have, let's say, a job that might not be in the industry, but that you're kind of safe in because you've already established yourself, you know what the job is, it's money coming in, like you have your income, something to fall back on. You don't want to give that up, to try something with a company that immediately offers you a job and you just take it, but you have no idea what that job entails, because honestly, like if they were hiring you as a web developer or full stack developer, and then it turned out to be SEO, I mean, they just flat out lied, and then what happened? You lasted a week because that's not what they told you that you were going to do. So you're not wrong. They're wrong. They told you something, they lied to you. And, when you're like, it's a very tough situation because like, going back to if you have a job that you're making money, you're already know how it works and you're established, and then you're going to leave that job to start a new one. And then you have to quit after a week. Like you're in a bit of a bind then, because then you have no job, no money, and you have to start from zero. So it's, you have to be careful. You have to make sure that, it might not be the perfect job out of boot camp, out of school or whatever, but you can like, you have a feeling that, it's a company that you can put some time into. It might not be forever, but you can stay there until you get on your feet or, you get some more experience, and then you can look for another job.
Fair enough. I mean, like I said, it worked out for me. I couldn't have, wished for anything other than what played out to actually play out. So, So two things. One, thank you, My City Social, for what you did. And second of all, My City Social.
I'll take your word for it, honestly.
Cheers to the company.
Cheers.
Well, with that being said, I actually want to move into some interesting stuff that I not only recommend, but also some news that I came across this week. So, actually just like this afternoon, this is hot off the press. I came across this new website. It's called imissmybar.com. Have you heard about this website? I doubt you have.
No way. Never heard of it.
And essentially what it is, I can actually play it right now because there's no copyright on it. It's an ambient sort of website where you can mimic the sounds of a bar that you might frequent with, the sounds of the bartender working, the night ambience, the street ambience, serving drinks, all that stuff. So let me get some of that going. Serving drinks. I would play music, but copyright. So it makes you feel like you're back in a bar.
Pre-COVID times.
Yeah. I mean, if you're listening to this after the quarantine, I mean, you're not going to understand what's happening, but this is gold for me. And
I love that. Oh
yeah,
my God.
And it's beautifully designed. It has a great UI. And actually, to kind of get deep into it, this company called, it's actually two companies, Legum and Tandem. They partnered with this big bar in Mexico called Maverick. And from the looks of it, from this article, it looks like it was some sort of, not a marketing scheme, but like a campaign where they wanted people in Mexico who go to this bar, the Maverick, frequently, they wanted to bring that experience to home.
Oh, wow.
So they basically gave you a UI where you can interact with music that the bartenders might be, kind of spinning for the night, along with some recorded audio that might be actually at the bar. So, rain on the window, people talking, the bartender working. So, the glass is clinking, all that stuff. And they put that in this beautiful beautiful little website called imissmybar.com.
Yeah.
And to me, this really is like huge because I love, I like working in these like ambient settings. So like I'll go on YouTube and I'll look up the Hufflepuff common room ambient sounds while I'm working, or like, you know, I've been doing this for the years. So like even like back in high school, I would listen to just like city ambient sounds while I'm studying. And when I found this really hit home because it's just like, it's really cool because it's not only this like really aesthetically pleasing thing, but it's also relative to, you know, COVID era. And it's also just a beautiful website.
It is.
And like, how the heck did they get imissmybar.com?
I know. Oh, that domain though.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like just the name of that bar, it pretty much sums up what has been happening now for a year, which is insane. You know, life is different for sure.
And their website, the Maverick Bar, their website is maverickmty.com. Beautiful website. If you're in the Mexico area, I would definitely hit them up. Let me try to narrow it down because Mexico is huge.
Wait, do I hear a free ad there?
Without a doubt, kind of. I'm gonna throw out the name of this bar, Maverick Bar. They're in San Pedro Garcia, Mexico.
Check it out. Kudos to them.
I'll put the link to the playlist. I'll put the link to the website. I'll link as much as I can in the show notes.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I saved the playlist, and I know they change it every week.
Oh wow, really?
They change it every week. Right now they're spinning D'Angelo and oh goodness, I just had it playing actually. D'Angelo, Georgia Smith, Salt, Caribou, Khruangbin, some people I don't know, like Black and Blues, Billy Ocean. I don't really know any of these. Oh, Mac Miller, obviously.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, really good people. So
very cool.
If you guys want to follow me on Spotify, I'll put the link in that description below as well. It's Victor Dubeld. Got really good music taste. No cap.
I love it.
Yeah, me too. Not that I'm discriminating towards Apple. I mean, Tim Cook, if you're listening, you know, give us a studio, give us some good microphones.
Yeah,
let's get some producers in the room, you know.
Yeah.
All that. But hey, if you're on Spotify, check out this playlist. Like I said, they change it up every week. I don't know. It's a really thoughtful thing to do because, you know, going back to the whole open source thing, it's just there for anybody. You just go on this website or you go on the Spotify playlist and hey, you're back in a bar with your friends on Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can slam a couple brewskis with your broskies, you know?
I know. Hopefully, you know, things are looking like are gonna get better this year. I really don't know. I don't think that really anyone does, but yeah, you know, at least there is a line. I think a light at the end of the tunnel. We just have to focus on that. Be optimistic, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything to recommend for the week?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to recommend I finally, you know, put up the LED strips that you recommended to me. So maybe you can link those as well. Super cheap, you know, sweet deal on Amazon Prime. And I put them, I actually put them, you know, use the adhesive part and I stuck them behind my monitor, not on the desk. So
I think that's how they were originally supposed to be done, behind the monitor.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, because it's an USB port, right? So you plug it into the USB port. Yeah, because
I was weird. I put it behind my desk because I have USB ports like on my desk. So I just kind of put it on my desk. But yeah, I think the original intention was behind the TV or behind the monitor.
Yeah, I stuck them to the monitor and I love it. And I have a couple of those smart bulbs.
And you have the remote, right?
Yeah, I have the little remote too.
Okay, so where did you put your remote? This is a big question.
I know. Right now it's just loose on my desk, but
Oh,
I need to.
jeez.
I know. I want to put
What the?
like the you psychopath.
You could
You.
lose that shit.
Yeah. Right. No, I want to put the Velcro adhesive and then put the other side on the desk or like behind the monitor or something, and just leave it there so I don't lose it. And I have another thing that I got this week. Take a look at this. What does it look like that I'm holding? Well, obviously Victor can see, but not the listeners. But
Is that an external hard drive?
it is. It's an external solid state drive, my friend. 1 terabyte of storage.
Whoa!
1 terabyte of storage. I got it at Costco because they had it for $20 cheaper than Best Buy and anywhere else. I had a gift card, so I got a sweet deal on this thing. And it's so light. It's shock and water and dust resistant. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, it's solid state. Like, why would anyone need a spinning hard drive, in 2021? Get a solid state, people.
Mm-hmm.
This thing is as skinny as like it looks like I don't know, a little wallet, but it's so light. And
does it have a fan?
It does not have a fan because it's all circuit based. That's the beauty about solid state, so yeah.
Well, good.
SanDisk,
shout out.
But yeah, that's what I learned this week. Solid state. And okay, sorry, one last thing. So Sam, my girlfriend, made us some pins at work. Can you see this?
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Official pins. Yeah, you can. I'm gonna put one on my backpack, and I'm gonna ask her to make a few more so we can mail it to you guys.
Oh my God. Neckheads pins.
You're official when you have a pin, man.
Well, hey, if we get I'm gonna speak for you guys in this. I'll cut it out if it's bad, but if somebody is able to contribute like a significant amount of evidence or information, or like just be a big help in any way, we'll give them a pin.
Okay.
Because we can't market this. We can't sell them to the listeners. We can't be like, oh, just like go buy one, like support us. I don't think that's the way to go. I think if you deserve it, you'll get it.
Yes.
So if you're somebody who, like, if we said something that was like, I don't know, totally wrong, and you did your due diligence and research and you're like, hey, like, that's not right, but this is the correct way to do it. Or if, I don't know, if somebody is struggling in their career transition and they came across this podcast and they're like, oh my God, this like opened up so many doors for me. You're going to get a pin. Like,
yes,
I think that's noteworthy. I don't know. We're not going to set it in stone, but I think that's a really good idea.
It is. No, definitely. We can, I think it's very interesting that you said that, because I think that I am not afraid to be corrected by any means, so like you said, if someone can like validate or point out something that I mentioned or, that you mentioned that needs to be corrected, by all means, reach out. And because I think, it'd be nice to make this into like a podcast of the people for the people. Like, help us, we'll make it whatever you want it to be. So
open source podcasting.
It's here.
It's like sort of open source, kind of not.
Yeah, right. But yeah, let us know, and then you get a pin.
100%. Well, another thing that, I don't know, that was kind of news that actually came up to me on my news feed, but I actually had something separate to recommend to people. So if you're a millennial and you had what's known as a Nintendo Wii console, which might be vintage at this point.
Yeah.
I recommend that people get the, I don't know, it's not new. it depends how you look at it, but I recommend that people at least look into getting the Super Mario 3D All-Star video game for the Switch.
Oh, is
Have
that
you heard
new?
about it?
No, I haven't.
Well, this might be a blast from the past for you. So it actually isn't a new game.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is, it includes Super Mario 64, Super
Mhm.
Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy all in one game.
Oh, wow. What a
Yeah, so like
mashup.
I think Galaxy is the newest one compared to, all those other games, but
Yeah.
I mean, that was what 2007, I think, that it came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they ported all of those games back to the Switch, and
Cool.
all three of them, they're yours if you have a Switch for $59.99.
Oh, sweet deal. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever played that one.
Oh, you haven't played any of them?
Which one was the first one you said?
Oh, 64. That was on the Nintendo 64 years
No, I
ago.
know, but you said what, like it's three games into one, right?
Yeah, so it's
Or Mario Galaxy?
Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy.
I don't remember if I've ever played any of them. I'm gonna watch a video on YouTube and then I'll let you know.
Yeah, you might have been in like, I don't know, high school when Galaxy came out. What, 2007?
Yeah, I was in high school. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You might have been a little too busy, but I was definitely I was slamming video games at that time.
Really?
And that was definitely the game to play. And Dylan, she's been I don't know, she's been playing it a lot. And I don't know, whenever like I hear a song from the game, I'll like turn over and be like, "Oh my god, this like brings back this memory because it's such an old game." So it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I'll have to watch the game walkthrough on YouTube, and then we
Yeah.
might have to grab that one too.
You should. I recommend everybody get it. I'm gonna be putting it in the link below. It's still going to be like probably straight from Nintendo. I don't think there's a cheaper way to get it, unfortunately, but hopefully the price drops down just like the new AirPod Pros dropped recently. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, they're $200 now instead of
Oh
what,
wow.
like 250, 300.
Yeah, yeah. We got it for a little under 200 on Black Friday. That's Sam got one for her and one for me.
Oh,
And yeah, that's why we ended up getting it because it was a good deal then. But they're probably gonna come out with like a refresh this year. I'm actually looking forward to the MacBook Pros at the end of the year. I think the 16-inch, if they do come out with the M1 architecture, which the MacBook Pro, 13-inch? I don't even know which one was the one that they released late last year with their own Apple chip. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. But I want the 16-inch because I like the bigger screen. So
yeah, you've got the bigger Pro.
But I don't have a lot of storage. That's why I had to invest on this, external drive. So
Well, I hope you upgrade soon.
yeah. Are you ready for some dad jokes?
I am actually. Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. So programmer dad jokes. Programmer dads be like, count to 10, son. 1, 2, you're not my son. Drops off the kid at the orphanage.
I mean, that's like super relevant because we
Yeah.
started with episode 0.
Right. Oh my God, that's so true.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
Did you do that intentionally?
I did actually, yeah.
You never told me. Oh my gosh. The
I
penny
mean, I
just
didn't want to get
dropped.
too deep, but maybe the whole
Right.
spirit of the podcast is to get a little deep on the things that people won't get deep about.
Right, right. Okay, I only have one more and then we can wrap up. Okay, so how would you write a C program to prevent Titanic from sinking? Float Titanic.
Float Titan.
Yeah, because, float the data type. Yeah. Oh my God. It's very bad. But I thought that it was kind of funny. So that's cute.
It is cute.
I don't have any more for today, but I'll definitely do some digging.
Yeah, let's do some deep dives into web developer jokes that nobody hears about.
Sounds good.
Another episode in the can. We'll see you all in a week. Peace.
Woo!
Boom.
See you later. Nice. Very good.